What's going on, everybody? Today we are looking at the other mega big figure that Playmates has done for GXK, The New Empire. Today we are looking at the Mega Punching Kong GXK edition. Obviously I reviewed the GVK Mega Punching Kong in that same video 3 years ago. So I'm very excited that this is a very deja vu video for me, revisiting a big version of Kong by Playmates 3 years later. And just like Godzilla, I sure hope this will be a big step up from the GVK Kong. This is roughly 13 inches or so they claim, and you're probably gonna find this for roughly 60 Canadian dollars, which is I think the same price as the previous mega figures, and that's also how much this mega heat ray Godzilla was. So without further ado, if you haven't seen the Godzilla, I do suggest you check out the review as well before or after this video. Let's dive right in and take a look at this Kong. First things first, of course, we got the package to take a look at. Obviously, just like all Playmates toys, we have this big open package concept, which you can see the figure in the store. And yes, it has a try me sign right here, and the rest of this is in French. You can actually try the twisting of his waist. And this allows you to try the figure in the store before you even decide on purchasing it. I've always liked this because that's how you get kids to interact with the toys and beg their parents to buy it. Also, there is a button at the back, which of course we'll get more into when we actually take the figure out of the box, but it's there. You can technically test it while it's still in the box. We got our beautiful rendering of Godzilla and Kong there. We have the QR code, which will take you to the video advertising this figure. If you want to scan it, try it. This should be on the screen. Hold your phone up and scan that QR code. And it has different languages, as you can see. So this is how you know this is distributed in Canada, because we have French on our fonts. Mega Punching Kong. I do like the font that they went with for Mega Punching, that orange and black color scheme. Pretty sick. And also a bunch of batteries info and the logos. On this side, you just have, you know, this good old movie title and Godzilla and Kong. On this side, we have other languages as well. If French or English wasn't enough, there you go. There's even more languages you can take a look at. And then at the bottom, not much info. The Godzilla one had the instructions on how to assemble the tail, but obviously Kong doesn't have such things, so there's nothing there. And then finally, here is the back of the box. You may pause the video at any given point to take a look at this back in full detail, but you're really just looking at the movie synopsis, which is in one sentence. Everything else is in different languages. English is the first line, and everything else is in different languages, so you're not missing out much. Also, we have some of the features that they're trying to show off here. You know, just simple advertising, stuff that you already didn't know if you didn't interact with the figure itself. But then again, that is it for the package. So, why don't we take Big Monkey here out of the box and see what he's like. Let's do it. Well, that relatively was easier than Godzilla in terms of unboxing. This took like 5 minutes to get him out of the box, and no assembly required, no water needed, nothing, because obviously Godzilla had that misfunction. Regardless, he still has an instruction sheet, which I will quickly open for you guys to take a look at. It's one singular sheet, basically just showing you his features, how does the battle roar work, and when he runs out of batteries, where do you replace said batteries? And it shows you all the articulation. I'm surprised they actually did that. And then if you want to take a look at the instructions in full detail, you may pause the video right now to do so, because obviously I'm not going to waste my time doing that. So that is the instruction sheet that is included. So let's take a look at this figure, shall we? First order of business, size comparison. Once again, this thing is 13 inches as the official measurement. So it's a relatively big fig. One of the first things I've noticed is that it's a very similar mold to, once again, Giant Kong here. Now obviously Giant Kong is roughly around 11 inches. You can see there's a difference. For one, obviously the eyes are different because the Mega one's eyes lights up. But apart from that, it really does feel like it's an upscale. The articulation is almost identical with the exception of the waist. Is it really an L? No, because GVK's Kong, his Mega one, and the Giant one looked very different from each other. One's 40 bucks, one's 60 bucks. The question is, are you willing to pay an extra 20 bucks for a cool battle roar slash punching feature on the toy? Okay, now for the real deal. This is the comparison that I've been wanting to try. Obviously, I did that with Godzilla already. This is, of course, the GVK Mega Kong. It sure looks like a completely new ape with the new mold here. Also, I would like to mention the color is a little bit more glossier on GXK's here. Obviously, GVK's had the battle axe. This one has the beast glove. Articulation on GVK Kong is there. You can also open and close the mouth, something GXK's cannot do. I guess that's one thing they took away. But it's the same concept with the waist articulation that makes the battle roar sound. Other bits articulation is pretty much the same with the arms. This one has knee articulation. This one does not have knee articulation. So here's GVK Kong's. Right? You twist the waist or you hit the button back here and he'll make the battle roar sounds. Now, one thing that they put in the name of these figures is Mega Punching. Punching, right? Unfortunately, old Kong here doesn't have that. You're gonna have to manually move the arm up, and he's holding the axe to simulate a somewhat realistic punching action. But something that did keep with both Kongs is that his eyes light up. Obviously, his eyes don't actually light up in the movie, but it's for the play feature. At least there's some form of lights compared to Godzilla's where his entire dorsal plates light up. So it's a fair payoff. But that's GVK's Kong. What about GXK's Kong here? Well, it's the same concept. Still, it's called Mega Punching. The name has been the same, but does the new one here actually punch? I'm glad they actually integrated the punching ability into the arm when you twist the waist. Let me show you. When I twist the waist, the arm goes up with him. That's sick. And you can see the eyes also light up. They taken the concept from old Kong here and completely remade it with this new Kong and just improved it. They improved it. That's the big thing. I think this was great, but this was even better. It's not like really a remake. Sorry, maybe remake wasn't the right word. Improvement, definitely, for sure. You can technically lift the arm up if you wanted to create a more realistic punching look. He does also have the button back here. So same as old Kong. The articulation is basically limited to the following: the arms, the legs, and the waist. Now, obviously, the waist is the big one. Obviously, that is what triggers the punching action. So that is part of the play feature. So great articulation there. How about the legs? Well, you can bend the knees, as you can see. You can also move the whole leg as itself. Unfortunately, I don't know why this one is stiff as a rock. Like, I can still move the knees, as you can see. So that's no issue. But the thigh, it's stiff as a rock, and I feel like if I apply too much force, it's just gonna snap off. So I learned that lesson with some of my SH Monster Arts figures. That's why I'm not going to risk it. Now for the arms, this is where it gets interesting. We have one arm with the Beast Glove, and that serves the punching feature. And we just have another default regular arm, not much going on. So what happens on this arm? Well, you can twist the hands, so that's pretty good. Technically speaking, it is in a holding pose, so you can stick the battle axe in here too if you want, have him dual wield. And you can see you can twist the elbow as well. You can straighten up the arm, do that, bend it as well. And then on the shoulders, there you go. You can see you can open and close, forward and back. So your basic standard articulation there. Now, this arm is where things get interesting. Because as you notice, when I twist his waist to do the punching, the arm automatically goes up. There's a gear or spring load inside that triggers the arm to push up. So when I twist his waist, that is part of his articulation. And you can technically move it, but it's spring loaded, so just automatically go back up like that. And you can technically move the arm forward and back, but again, it's already triggered with the punching action when you twist the waist. Now, I'm sure you can move the shoulder as well, but again, this thing is stiff as a rock, so maybe you can't. And I don't want to break the arm once again, so we're just gonna leave it as that. But the articulation is obviously more limited on the Beast Glove arm, but mainly because it is replaced with the punching feature, which I think is absolutely appropriate. So that makes sense. Now, the head, you can sort of twist it. I mean, not too far. Just don't twist it too far or you're going to snap the whole thing. How about the appearance? Well, you notice with the giant Kong, the colors is a bit different on this mega one here. For one, it's a bit darker on the gray side, and it's a bit glossier in terms of the overall texture. Obviously, with the size, that gives it more space to add a little bit more intricate details and rework the textures quite a bit, because you're upscaling a figure, pixels will tend to get smaller, like you do if you try to increase the size of an image. I guess the gloss was necessary when printing or molding this figure together. I do like the dark gray though. I honestly prefer this dark look over the brown that the GVK Kong had. Now, big issue that I tend to have with these big figures, and I'm sure a lot of people who share the same issues with me, is that screw holes. Screw holes is a big topic when it comes to these figures. Unfortunately, Playmates double back down on this Mega Kong, and there are screw holes everywhere. GVK's Kong had screw holes, but they were somewhat covered. For some reason, they didn't do that with this Kong. Even the Godzilla had the screw holes covered. There are so many holes. It literally looks like he's doing acupuncture on the back here. You can see holes at the back of his arms, holes on his butt crack and his butt cheeks, holes on his back here on the shoulders and the lower bit of his back, and more holes on the other arm as well, even on the Beast Glove arm. Now, how well does the camera pick this up? I'm not sure. I'm looking at this with the naked eye, of course, but with the camera lenses, it's a little bit different. So with the lighting and everything, I'm not sure how obvious it'll be. But if you have this in person and you're looking at this with your own eyes, you will notice them. Luckily, the backside is obviously going to be covered the most, so you don't really see it. But I would have loved if they could just cover up these godforsaken screw holes. The dark color scheme of the gray is somewhat camouflaging it, so I guess it's okay. Again, I'm looking at the screen on this camera right now. It doesn't look like it's too obvious. That actually might be good for camera. But in person, nah, you will notice that pretty easily. Also, there's a couple more holes here on the knees, on the legs. Now, contrasting colors, we can see for the chest area, you have more of the lighter gray, and you can see the scratch marks. It's a very like light gray, almost white, so you can see there's details there. Also, that is where the speaker is for the battle roar sounds to come out, so there you go. But it's a good, attention to detail. You can see the textures pretty well. As for the face, this is a very close-up shot. You can see that there's the tongue, there's the teeth, and it's a battle roar, so he's roaring. You cannot close the mouth. Of course, the original GVK Kong could close the mouth, but not this one. The eyes, it's light up, so it is what it is. And the head, the head is, I think it's a lot better shaped than what they did with GVK Kongs, so it's pretty good. Obviously, the one contrasting color is the Beast Glove itself. You can see the numbers and letters on it. And, might I point out, the fist here is a soft rubber plastic, which is very smart. I'm glad they actually stuck with that because, well, GVK's Kong didn't have that, and his punching is for both arms, I guess. But this one is mainly prioritizing the B.E.A.S.T glove arm. Now, that being said, if this was hard plastic, this could damage stuff. This could damage the paint, this could scratch off, and it can actually hurt if you do it too aggressively. If you want him to be punching Godzilla or another Titan, no, like it will potentially leave a dent on the other figures. The fact that they changed this to a soft rubber bit is genius because upon contact, it's not going to hurt. It's a very soft impact. Like if I'm hitting it, it's just soft rubber. Unfortunately, I'd already noticed this. Some of the paint is already starting to come off, but that's something you can't really avoid. But if that's part of the soft rubber, I think they've done what they can. So this bit is actually genius. I'm glad that they actually thought of this. It's not soft. There's still a hard object inside, but this rubber bit really helps cushion the impact of the punch if he's hitting someone, something, another figure. It's good for safety reasons. Now, obviously, that's not the same with this hand here. This hand is hard plastic, so yeah, they really prioritize the B.E.A.S.T glove for this. And I think that's good on their part. I mean, that's also where you change the batteries, right under the button. Now, obviously, released alongside this Kong is the Godzilla. Now, in my viral review, I reviewed both of them in the same video. Here, I'm doing them in two separate videos. You know, like, obviously one has more features, and these two are the same price. They're both 60 bucks. It's the same class, you know, mega figures. But obviously one, you get the bang for your buck, for sure, because one has more playability. Also, it shoots miss and the dorsal plates light up. Kong, it's cool, but his features are a little bit more limited. You can argue that yes, Godzilla, you may get the bigger bang for your buck with the 60 bucks you're paying, but they're two different characters. Before we wrap up the review for this Kong, let's test out how well his eyes are in the dark. Now, obviously for Godzilla's case, you saw that the dorsal plates lit up very well in the dark, as well as the eyes. Also, in the dark is where you can see the mist shoot out the best. But obviously, the only thing that lights up for Kong are his eyes. But how good are they? First things first, we're gonna see what they look like from afar, and then we're gonna get a close-up shot. Keep in mind that the only thing that lights up are the eyes. Let's flicker off the lights. All right, here is GVK Kong. I mean, they're red, but they're not that noticeable. Now there he is, GXK's Kong. They just look like demon eyes. It's so tiny, you can barely notice it from a distance. And they're the only things that light up. All right, let's give this a try. So again, this is GVK Kong. So flicker off the lights, and here are the eyes. They were just as terrifying as I remembered back in 2021. Yeah, they just look like devil eyes. A bunch of red eyes staring at you in the dark. Isn't that scary? But it's also pretty cool at the same time. Now here is GXK's Kong. Here is his mugshot. It literally looks like I'm taking their mugshots. So let's flicker off the lights once again. And here are the eyes. I mean, they literally look the same. There's barely a difference. Here's them side by side. Let's see, I'll try to, I guess I'll do this. Okay, let's try them side by side. Here we go, let's light them at the same time. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, it's just a bunch of red eyes staring you in the dark. That's about it. So they look the same. And I'm glad that they tried to include something anyways for Kong, even though he has no natural lighting up ability. You know what would be pretty cool though? If the B.E.A.S.T glove also lit up, because the B.E.A.S.T glove emitted lightning. There is electricity. You can see that when he tries it out for the first time. So you know what would be pretty sick? When you do this, not only do his eyes light up, but you can see some blue light coming from the B.E.A.S.T glove to emulate the electric charges he's sending. How sick would that be? like that. There's another speaker here and you just hear some lightning bolt effects coming from there. That may add to the budget, but it would be a sick add-on. I feel like that was a missed opportunity there. But apart from that, the glowing eyes work as well, I guess. Overall, I am satisfied. This is a sequel, it's a follow-up to GVK's Kong, and I think they've done what they can. This has definitely been a step up, but at the same time, a step down. There are some things that GVK's Kong did better for sure. Ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, this Kong has been a significant improvement. It's Playmates taking that giant mega figure concept and making it better. I really like what they've done with the punching feature. That's definitely pretty sick. The eyes is a bonus. I consider that as a bonus because you want to put lights and sound in the name. You gotta have something light up. So they've done that with the eyes. Granted, the articulation is great, even though the leg and the arm's a bit locked and stiff. It is what it is. It's great. The colors look great. I love that this is a new mold. They didn't recycle the GVK mold. Pricing, I also think is appropriate enough. 60 Canadian dollars is decent for what you get out of this. Compared to the RC Godzilla, which is great. It's an RC figure, but it's also quite pricey. Obviously, Godzilla has more to it with the price you pay. So obviously, I would say Godzilla is better value for sure. But they've done what they can for this Kong, and I'm glad that this exists. That this is a part 2. This is a version 2 of the Mega Punching Kong. Out of 10, I'm gonna give this Mega Punching Kong a solid 8 out of 10. But I do recommend anyone who loves Kong, wants to get more Kong toys, definitely pick this one up. I think this is the greatest thing you're gonna get in terms of playability for its size. This is the best you're gonna get. This and Godzilla. I'm telling you right now, just predicting the Titan Kong and the Titan Godzilla, they ain't gonna be much. It's just gonna be massive, almost life-size figures. Those are my thoughts of this Mega Kong. Again, if you wanna check out the review for the Godzilla, as well as my viral video where I reviewed the GVK Mega figures, do check that out, link in description and end screen and in the top right corner of the cards. For now, I am officially calling it here for the Mega Kong. What do you guys think of this figure? Let me know in the comments, and Team Kong fan, if you see this video, give me an honest review. Was this figure worth your expectations? Because I know you have a lot of Kong fandoms in your channel. So what do you and your fandom think of the Kongs that I've reviewed so far, especially this one? I'm very curious. Let me know what you think, and you're welcome for the shout out. If you enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. I'm out of things to say, so we'll see you in the next review. Peace.